not bad in her very Yuki way. Welcome back to a wonderful review of wonderful Precure. And while I am doing this the day before I do the next episode, we will be crunching away. I also should warn you that while I will be able to do today and tomorrow for a video, I will be out potentially for the next one and definitely for the week after. Unfortunately, against my will, I have been traveling a lot, so hopefully this will wrap all of my summer travels and I can have these episodes out regularly. But nonetheless, let's get on. Picking up from where we left off, we have Mayu, our lovely Cure Lillian, joins the crew. And of course, our little ragtag band of Iroha, Kumugi, and Satoru are like, this is a perfect opportunity to do a little bit of friendship. But Mayu is nervous because why? Because of Yuki. I actually really liked how this episode handled it because, again, I didn't want Yuki to sort of mesh with the team too quickly, given the fact that she had been very standoffish. I kind of wanted it to, like, have that light fold into the team. And this episode is such a decent transition for that. We have her very much not wanting to do anything. She does not want to go to the Nico Garden. She does not want to get to know everybody. But she still joins everybody nonetheless. I also like to point out that in the opening, if those have not seen it already, we now have the additions of Yuki and Mayu. Also throw in some other characters, like there's space. We could put more characters in our little lineup for this. But it's good to see them included in each of these segments. Like I did not expect them to add more characters to the sunset scene in the opening. But it's happy to see them all there, and then of course it goes back to being just Kumugi and Iroha, but it's sweet. Like, I honestly feel like the newer seasons are so much better at changing the opening with the addition of characters, because I feel like, I don't want to say lazy, because I don't actually know what the reasoning for it was, but for so many other seasons, the addition of even just a mid-season character took, like, they did nothing. They did such the bare minimum. They're like, we'll have their face in the sky, and they're included in the group. And I'm like, you knew there was going to be a mid-season character, and I get not wanting to completely redo the opening, but I see, like, shonen series have, like, all of 10 episodes, and they'll have, like, 80 different openings. Like, completely different openings with completely different musical numbers. I feel like the small little changes that they could do in a Magical Girl series shouldn't be that much, but we do get the bare minimum, but they're doing better with their bare minimum. And this is honestly my favorite shot. I love the hand-drawn version of the packs, as opposed to, like, the 3D models. I'm sure they may have used the 3D models as a reference to draw these, but, like, I love these hand-drawn ones, and I love it that it's got both sets of packs. It just looks really cute. I'm super, super fond of it. And then, of course, we have them in the final shot as well. It's nice. It just feels so, like, fluid. I'm gonna give them praise where it needs to be, because maybe it will encourage people to continue to add our multiple characters into the intro. Without further ado, we go into the Nico Garden. Mei's like, oh, finally a team effort. I also love that he was like, Mayu, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, this is kind of a new thing. No, I didn't try to hide the secret of curedom to you. You think Mei would know by now. But Yuki's like, yeah, not interested. BRB, I'm gonna go. I love how she just randomly goes somewhere in the garden and walks away. Like, I totally relate to being like, wow, I don't want to be in this social situation. But she's in a completely foreign environment, and she's like, I'm just gonna go off in this place that I have, like, no permission to be wandering off into. And this is where the episode really shines for me. It's the use of the Kirin fawn. Like, I do find it interesting that it was chosen to be the fawn, because the fawn was the one Kirin animal that actually has, like, had zero interaction with Yuki. So it's kind of weird when they're like, I'm so happy you helped us out. And I was like, nah, when she was Nyami, she just stood on a tower and stared down at you while Mei absolutely cleared that episode. But nonetheless, I like the idea of, again, the Kirin animals are being used. They're not just marketable plushies. They have a function in the series, and the fawn is sitting there trying to be like, oh, I'm so happy about the cures. Like, I'm not mad at you. I'm honestly, I think some of the Kirin animals have room to be more mad at Yuki. But they're all very, like, excited to be there, and then connect with Yuki on this whole bit about feeling alone and, like, being scared that anything as bad is happening to your friends. And overall, I also love, I forgot to mention, the characters are so smart in this season. Like, I feel like logic has re-entered the room when it comes to a Magical Girl series, because normally we yeet that out the window. I like that the fawn is like, oh, you're Nyami. Like, looks at a cat and knows that there's a cat cure, and he's like, that's you. Perfect. Perfect. And then of course we see the other kitty animals. But again, I was surprised that all of them were relatively like, oh my god, Yuki! Yay, Yuki! It was kind of it was a cute little bit, and I think it's also like them being much like, you're just a cure who saves people, like, you know, like going down the path of just being like, you're a legendary cure, you save us, it's great, and just kind of running it with that, I think is working to convince Yuki that, hey, maybe I should care, because these little critters aren't too different from I also like that. Got mad at them when she's like, you were just playing hide and go seek, you weren't actually lost. Well, at the same time that they understand that, like, she's a cure and everything, they're not completely dense to the fact that she's not the most on board person with everything that's going on. So again, there's the level of logic and intelligence that's nice to have in the room. But also the bear Kitadine the bear Kitadine is allowed to be mad. The bear Kitadine gets a pass for being angry. Also, new drinks have entered the room. These little glasses are super cute. They're very similar, like they're like a little bit of a watered down version of what we had in Delicious Party, which I also own the merch for that. But the drinks are really cute. I want them to just sell like Precure tableware. Like, look at our little picnic setup. I love all these little things. And also like the little gem stools they're on. Very cute. Very cute. And then we see, like, the fairies once again, like, every time the cures come to the garden, the kitty animals are like, we love you! You guys are so great! Thank you for saving us! It's super helpful! We get to see, like, the little hamster one who, like, was an annoying garu, but I keep forgetting that the Kitadine animals are really cute once they become Kitadine animals. Like, they're winning me over! Normally I'm kind of like, yeah, the generic fairies that we help out each season. I'm actually like really liking the kitty. I did not think I was going to like them very much, but they're very cute. And they got the little BB glasses. It's very cute. And I like that they made little biscuits for Mayu and Yuki, and then the fawn is super excited for them to try it. And obviously Mayu's like, delicious. And then Yuki's like, not bad, in her very Yuki way. And it's, again, these little baby steps and connections. She's not immediately won over and like, friendship is key. She's walking into it, like, nice and slowly over the course of several episodes, which is the benefit of having a season that's going to be this long. When you have these 50-episode long seasons, it's nice to see stuff happen gradually over the course of multiple episodes, instead of, like, doing a billion things and then doing a bunch of fluff nonsense episodes. It's just, again, I like the sort of bit-by-bit storyline that we get. And of course, it's nice to see the Kitadine fawn all happy. And we get that connection, it's cute. But, of course, again, we can't have things move too far. Yuki is still very protective. And I like this scene too, because again, logic has entered the building. Like, Yuki very clearly sniffed out that there was a garu, but was not telling Mayu, and Mayu's like, you're lying to me. Instead of Mayu being like, oh, I guess if Yuki says that there's no garu, then there's no garu. She immediately knew she was lying, which was very impressive. Which leads Mayu to be like, I'm a cure now. I'm gonna go save those animals. I'm gonna keep people in town from getting beat up by animals, and I'm gonna make sure the animals don't beat up themselves. I also just wanted to get this shot because it's nice to see, like, Lillian just in action with the rest of the crew. We're just still not used to seeing her around, and I like how cute she fits in. I will say this garu really, like, didn't bring it in terms of being intimidating this episode. Like, I feel like there was very little danger going on. It just kept turning into random pieces of stuff. Here we have the garu as a fire truck, which I do like that they went with the kitsune, which is one of the mythical creatures of Japan, who, as the episode explains, has the ability to turn into other animals, like the whole, like, nine-tail fox bit of being, like, a sneaky little creature that transforms into unsuspecting things. I'm glad that they went with that. Very similar to how we had the tanuki. And then we see Satoru have a little moment. Like, I get why Satoru's not a cure. He gets so excited about logic that he gets a little bit distracted. Not that he's really going to contribute in the first place, but, like, Satoru is like, now I've got to think about this. Now I've got to consider. While the kitsune runs away. I also, like, the garu to me are just getting smaller and smaller. Like, I feel like they were significantly bigger earlier on in the season. But it makes sense because in the opening, they're really small. But I was, like, used to them being kind of big. And now they're just so small. And then they get like significantly smaller when they turn into cute animals. We get to see these fun little cuts of the fight scene with Yuki and Mayu trying to deal with the tree, but also having Yuki realize that she doesn't want to actually fight it. She also understands now that these garu-garu are going through their own flavor of loneliness. She certainly doesn't want Mayu to get hurt, but she's beginning to pick up on the fact that we're not going to beat him up. We also have a shield moment, which was kind of interesting. I don't really know how to make heads or tails of this scene because I don't know why it bugs me. But the Kirin, the garu-garu unleashes a beam and Mayu ends up blocking it, but the beam like does that very intense like anime beam thing where it gets stronger and stronger, but Mayu like counters it with an equal amount of strength, which was impressive. It was gonna be kind of a bummer because I sat there, I was like, I hope her shield doesn't break like immediately. Like, what is she? What is she, Cure Friendly? That was low. That was low. But her shield does really well. She manages to hold the line. Impressive. We also get this cut that reminds me of like all of the All-Star movies when they have like that final attack and they all just kind of scream as they do a beam of light. Lillian is ultimately able to reach an understanding, which was cute. I'm glad that we've made this level of connection. I also, again, I'm glad that Lillian is not the singular one who has convinced you to like be a little bit more considerate and to actually like want to save the garu-garu. I like that it had the cutie animals, and I like that it's just a third-party force that wasn't Mayu. And then of course we get the birth of our next Bandai product, the Amity Tambourine. I had mixed feelings about the Amity Tambourine because I don't really love the musical instrument items in the franchise. I feel like it's definitely one of those things where it's like, it's just not for me. I'm not the right demographic. It's definitely for the youngins. But I gotta give it to it. It's probably the prettiest tambourine we have out of all the tambourines I own. And then we have our little purification, which I have, again, a hate-love relationship with. Just because I usually love, like, over-the-top attacks. This one is definitely, as many people have pointed out, is a slower tempo attack, or a slower tempo purification, which, you know, is very to each their own. I do love the visuals, though. I love the colors. It is my favorite colors going on here. It also reminds me of how much, like, how much Lillian and Nyami's outfits remind me of Cure White. Like, it has the similar sleeves. And there's just a lot of really pretty cuts of the two of them in here. It's just, like, a very elegant and pretty attack. So, in terms of just, like, looking gorgeous, it wins. But I feel like it kind of loses some of the impact. But that's not what it's going for. It's not going to be, like, epic and impactful and, like, bam. This is definitely, like, a yay kind of attack. And it does a good job at that. And again, I love the effects and the background and stuff. And they go with a lighter thing rather than doing kind of the darker backgrounds that they've had. Which I think for the sake of it being a purification versus a transformation, it works. And they're just glamorous all around. I also like that they go for the diamond pattern for the two of them as sort of the shapes that they use for this, like diamonds and sparkles. And it's cute to see the two of them getting along. I do feel like they kind of just like boom did it. I feel like the epicness of getting the friendly tact was a little bit more intense. This was kind of a little bit subtler, but at the same time I feel like there was so much drama in the last few episodes that this again being softer makes sense in terms of just emotional balance. And it's pretty. This is my favorite part though of the attack. I do love when Nyami yeets Lillian into the air and then follows her with her own little flip, and the two of them like from the sky rain down their ability and purify the garu-garu. Overall, it's not my favorite in the universe, but color-wise and glam-wise, it's serving. And then I like that we get to see the pact. Now this is more of the 3D model version of the pact versus a hand-drawn one, which I feel like they just need to darken the line art a little bit, maybe thicken it like a little bit, and it would fit so perfectly here, but you know, it is what it is. I love that Satoru tries to say something, but then these two are like, yay, you guys are getting along, and we're all getting along, and it's a good time. And then Nyami, like, it looks like she walks away, but she actually leans against Mayu, because I was like, Nyami, are we still being like this? But she's like, no, Lillian, you're the one I care about, you know, I paired up with you. So she's still, like, not quite warmed up to the rest of them, but she's warmed up enough that she can partner up, which I think was what we kind of suspected was going to happen. And of course we get to see her sassy little face. She's so cute. So cute. And then we get a little hug. And then the three doofuses to the right. And no Daifuku! There's a significant lack of Daifuku in the episode. Also, Yugi being the coyest little thing over here, being like, yeah, I've decided I will join your team, but on a condition. I love that she's sitting there, like, in terror, like, she's bargaining with Mei Mei. Mei Mei being like, oh my, what is this cat about to ask me for? And, of course, she's like, I want to go to school. I know that that dog can go to school. I know that you guys pulled some crazy stuff to make it so that that dog can go to school, so I will be going to school. Like, such a conniving little cat, but, like, we stan. Also, Kamugi got cut off here. I'm like, she's the main character. She's the main character and you cut her off! You Mike Wazowski to her, what is this? But ultimately, it leads us perfectly into the next episode, transitions well, since I will be watching the next episode in, like, an hour. I'm literally filming this an hour before the new episode drops. I probably won't be able to get this out before the new episode drops, but nonetheless, you'll see this soon. Normally, I do not talk about the, I don't know why I say this. I think I do. I think every time I do end up, like, talking a little bit about the next episode, but I try not to. But I did want to point out from what I saw in this beforehand that I am super excited about. I love that for her uniform, she's in the shorts instead of the skirt. So, like, all the animals are in shorts and the humans are in skirts. But I think that also makes sense because if they want to do anything animally with them, like if they do weird flips or jump around and stuff, it's easy. They have... But also, I think it's interesting that, like, my thing was, like, her shirt's not tucked in. Like, she's supposed to be Miss Lady, but, like, tucking in her shirt. And that's very interesting to me. Also, I think they switched uniforms. I think they finally switched to the summer uniforms versus the winter uniform. Well, but nonetheless, interesting thing to take in. And then we're gonna end on this note because, what is this? Like, it looks like Nyami used the Kirin power-up, but did she, like, the Kitsune power-up, but did she use it on Wonderful? What happened? What are we looking at? What is the next episode? I'm gonna find out in an hour. I'll let you know in an hour what in the world I'm staring at. This is wild. This is crazy. But without further ado, that was this episode. We are going into the next shortly. And then hopefully I will get you the episode after that one. I've lost my numbers if you haven't noticed. But either way, thank you so much for watching and following along this journey. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye!